Why rebound relationships fail. The psychology you've never heard. Rebounds don't usually start with the truth. They start with urgency. You just got out of something painful. Maybe you were the one left behind, or maybe you did the leaving. But either way, there's a hole in your chest, and someone new steps in. Fast. Suddenly you're texting again, going out, smiling. It feels exciting, alive, like proof that you're over it, or at least on your way. But here's the hard truth. Most rebound relationships are built to collapse, not because of bad intentions, but because they're rooted in the wrong psychology. They're built on distraction, not depth, on speed, not stability. And behind the scenes, there's a quiet emotional storm waiting to hit. And yet, nobody talks about why. Not just the emotional reasons, but the real psychological forces that make these relationships feel intense, and then fall apart. In this video we're gonna break it all down. Why people fall into rebounds, why they feel so real at first, and the 3 hidden psychological patterns that almost always lead to failure. Whether you're watching your ex in a rebound or you're wondering if you're in one yourself, what you're about to hear might change how you see everything. Let's get into it. Let's be honest. Most of us know rebounds are risky. We've heard the advice. We've seen how fast love can crash when it starts from pain. And yet, people still jump into them every single day. Why? Because when you lose someone you were emotionally attached to, you don't just lose a relationship. You lose part of your identity, your routines, your validation, your feeling of being wanted. It leaves a void, fast, deep, and terrifying. And when you don't know how to sit with that emptiness, you'll do anything to fill it. That's what rebounds offer: fast relief. They don't require introspection, they don't ask you to grieve, they just say, hey, let's forget for a while. You're drawn in by the rush of newness, the illusion of moving on, the way someone else's attention temporarily quiets the ache your ex left behind. It's not love, it's not even always attraction, it's emotional anesthesia, and here's the wild part, your brain loves it. Chemically it feels good, you get hits of dopamine, attention, touch, connection, all the same things you were getting before, without the hard work of rebuilding trust or history. But here's the catch. What starts as comfort becomes a cover-up. And most people don't realize they're doing it until they're deep in it, confused, emotionally split, and too scared to admit they were never ready in the first place. So no, it's not weak to want to rebound, it's human, but knowing what's driving that desire, that's the first sign of real healing. Rebounds have a way of pulling you in fast. The emotions hit hard, the connection feels instant. It's like you skipped all the awkward stages and landed right in the middle of something that feels serious. But here's the truth. That intensity, it's not always love. It's often emotional speed plus unprocessed pain. You're bonding quickly because you're vulnerable. You're projecting needs, not building trust. You're skipping depth in favor of distraction. Rebounds mimic intimacy, but they lack emotional foundation. And that's why they feel so big, but collapse just as fast. Because when the emotional high wears off, there's no ground underneath. Most people think rebounds fail because they happen too soon. And while timing plays a role, it's not the full story. Rebound relationships fall apart because of what's happening unconsciously, deep beneath the surface. Here are the 3 psychological forces that almost always lead to collapse. 1. Emotional displacement. After a breakup, most people don't fully process their pain, they redirect it. They take all that leftover emotion, the anger, the confusion, the sadness, the need for closure, and they unconsciously place it onto the new person. Suddenly, the rebound partner becomes the emotional dumping ground. They expect comfort, but get confusion. They want connection, but feel tension they didn't create. Because the rebounder isn't fully present. They're still carrying energy from someone else, and the new partner can feel it, even if they don't understand it. This creates emotional misfires, arguments that don't make sense, distance that grows without warning. The relationship isn't failing because of them, it's failing because of everything that came before them. 2. Romantic transference. This happens when someone starts projecting traits, memories, and emotional energy from their ex onto the new person. It sounds like, they're nothing like my ex. And that's why I like them. Or worse, they remind me of my ex in all the good ways. The rebound isn't a clean slate, it's a continuation of a story that never got closure. And here's the danger. Transference creates false familiarity. You start responding to the ghost of someone else instead of the person in front of you. That fake familiarity can feel intimate at first, but it collapses when the illusion cracks, when the new person acts differently than your ex, and suddenly you realize, wait, this isn't what I thought it was, and the bond starts breaking. 3. Unconscious comparison loop. This is the one most people never notice, but it poisons the relationship over time. Even if you swear you're over your ex, your mind is constantly comparing how this person texts, how they handle conflict, how they make you feel, or don't. The new person is being measured against a relationship that already had history, and they'll always come up short. Not because they're not enough, but because you're not emotionally neutral. You're not here. You're still back there. And when you're emotionally split like that, no relationship can thrive. Bottom line, these psychological forces are powerful, and they're usually invisible until it's too late. By the time the relationship collapses, people say, "I don't know what happened, it just stopped feeling right. We moved too fast." But what really happened? The relationship was carrying more emotional weight than it was designed to hold, and eventually, it broke. Most rebounds don't end with fireworks, they end in silence. Not because of a big fight, but because the connection just fades. One day the texts slow down, the conversations feel flat, the effort disappears, and you start to realize the emotional closeness you thought was there never had roots. Why? Because when the rush fades, when dopamine and distraction wear off, all that's left is two people who never built anything solid. There's no shared foundation, no emotional history, no space for vulnerability, just a quiet disconnection. And it doesn't always come with closure, just a feeling that something's missing, and no one's brave enough to say it. That's how rebounds usually die, not suddenly, but slowly. Even when the signs are clear, even when the connection is fading, even when they feel the emptiness building day by day, most people still won't say it. This relationship isn't working. Why? Because to admit a rebound is failing means admitting why it started in the first place. And that kind of honesty, it's uncomfortable. It forces people to say things like, "I moved too fast. I wasn't over my ex. I used someone to avoid my own pain." And that's hard. Not just emotionally but socially. They've already posted the happy pictures. They've told friends, "This one's different." They've tried to convince you and maybe even themselves that they were fine. So to walk away now would feel like failure. Like they're admitting they lied. Not just to the world but to themselves. So instead, they stay. Not because they're in love, but because they're afraid of looking lost. They perform. They post. They keep showing up in a relationship that's slowly breaking them, all to maintain the image that they're okay. But deep down, they know. They feel the disconnect, they see the cracks, they hear the silence between conversations. They just don't want anyone else to, because if they admit this rebound is falling apart, they'll be forced to feel what they were trying to escape from all along. And that's often scarier than staying in something they know isn't real. By now you might be sitting with a lot of feelings. Maybe you're watching your ex in a rebound, wondering why they're suddenly posting smiles like you never existed. Or maybe, you're realizing you might be in one. Either way, here's the truth. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. If you're watching them in a rebound, you've probably tortured yourself wondering, did I mean anything? How can they move on so fast? Why do they look happier without me? But what you've just learned should shift everything. They didn't move on, they moved away from pain. They didn't fall for someone new, they fell into avoidance. It's not about you being replaceable, it's about them not being ready. Their relationship might feel real. But if it's built on distraction, it's already cracking beneath the surface. And that means you're not behind. You're healing in silence, while they're performing a piece they haven't earned yet. And if you're realizing you might be in a rebound, pause. Breathe, you're not broken, you're not a bad person, you're not failing, you're just waking up. And that awareness, as scary as it feels, is the moment healing actually begins. This isn't about blowing everything up, it's about getting honest. Honest about where you are, honest about what you feel, honest about whether this relationship is something you built on truth, or something you used to avoid it. And the beautiful thing is, the moment you get honest with yourself, you stop the cycle, you stop passing pain forward, you stop bleeding on people who didn't cut you. So whether you're watching the collapse from the outside, or feeling it from within, this moment, it's not the end. It's a reset. And what comes after this clarity is something most people never give themselves the chance to feel. A relationship that's rooted in readiness, one that grows slowly, honestly, deeply, and that starts with you. Now that you've seen the truth behind rebound relationships, you can't unsee it. You understand why they start fast, why they feel so intense, why they almost always fall apart quietly, beneath a smile, a selfie, or a new beginning that wasn't built to last. But more importantly, you understand yourself better now. You're not crazy for feeling confused. You're not weak for wanting connection after pain. You're not heartless if you've used a rebound to fill the silence your ex left behind. You're just human. And healing doesn't always look perfect. Sometimes it looks like waking up in the middle of a mistake and having the courage to change course. Whether you're the one who rebounded or the one watching from afar, this moment right here is your turning point. So don't shame yourself for what happened. Honor yourself for what you now understand. Because most people don't ever get to this point. They stay stuck in cycles, they keep chasing distractions, they stay in relationships that numb but never nourish. But not you. You see the pattern now, and once you see it, you don't go back. Drop a comment below and just say, "I see the pattern now." Let it be your way of claiming emotional clarity, maybe for the first time in a long time. Subscribe if you want more truth, not fluff. More psychology, not just surface advice. And more real talk to help you break cycles and start healing. For real, this isn't just about understanding rebounds, it's about rebuilding yourself. And you're already on your way.